Hello students, we have finished off the accountancy portion, that is the golden rule of accounts, journal, ledger, trial balance, and I have also given you many assignment on that. Many of you have raised your queries, submitted your assignment. Now today I am going to start with demand and supply. The economics portion of mine, a very important chapter, demand and supply. Now first I will discuss about demand, then subsequently I will move towards supply. Now what is a demand? A commodity is demanded because it has the ability to satisfy want. Definitely. Commodity, first of all we have to know what is commodity. Commodity means the product, okay, or any goods. Now one product we are demanding. Why? Because it has the ability to satisfy our wants. Okay, wants means desired. Now by demand for a commodity, we means the want or desire for a commodity backed by purchasing power. Definitely, say for example, you want to purchase a book of economics. Now if you have the purchasing power for the same, it will be hardly, you need to spend for that hardly 200 rupees or 250 rupees or 300 rupees or 350 maximum. So if you have the desire for the same along with the purchasing capacity, then only you can say that your demand is an effective demand. Again, I am giving you another example. Say I have a demand or desire for purchasing a Mercedes car right now. Being a middle class person, I don't have the capacity to purchase a Mercedes car right this moment. I don't have that much money with me. Okay, so I cannot say this demand is a effective demand because I have a desire for the same, but I don't have the purchasing capacity. So demand cannot be fulfilled immediately, and this demand cannot be called as an effective demand. Now, when a customer wishes to consume a commodity and also have the necessary purchasing power, he is said to have the demand or effective demand for the commodity. Definitely, as I said, so effective demand has two parts, that is desire for the commodity, another is the purchasing power. So if these two things are there, we can say our demand is effective. Now that means from this we can say there lies a very important relationship. Purchasing power means what? The price. Purchasing power depends on the price of that product. Okay, that means we can say there lies a relationship between price and quantity demanded of a product. How much quantity we are demanding and what is the price of the product. So there lies a relationship between these two. Okay, so this is called as the law of demand. See what is written over here. Law of demand. The law of demand states that price and quantity demanded for the commodity moves in opposite direction. This is a very important line. Moves in opposite direction. What does it mean? It means that just now I have given the example of a book of economics. Say last year the price of that book was 350 rupees. Now this year when you went for purchasing that book, you have seen that in market the price has reduced. Now the price has come down to 300 rupees. So as the price of that book reduced, what will be its effect on demand? Definitely the demand will rise up. And if you see the price has rised up from 350 to 400 or 450, the demand will fall down. Okay, so this is called as the law of demand. Okay, law of demand states that price and quantity demanded of a commodity moves in opposite direction. Okay, that means if price increases, this quantity demanded will fall down, and if price falls down, quantity demanded will rise up. So when price of a commodity rises, the demand for the for it falls. When price falls, demand rises. Just now I said. Okay, now come to the illustration. See, the relationship between the amount of quantity demanded at different price is usually shown in the form of a demand schedule. See, we are depicting this particular law of demand. Just now I said there lies a relationship. The whole thing I am depicting with the help of an individual demand schedule. Okay, this is called an individual demand schedule. See, this one. Okay, what I have written here. See, an individual demand schedule is a table showing how much of a commodity is purchased by an individual customer at its different prices during a particular period of time. Okay, if the price is fluctuating, okay, how it is affecting the demand of a product. Okay, see here, it may be anything. It may be a packet of biscuit, it may be a Cadbury, anything. Okay, toffee, whatever may be. So if say price per unit I have written as rupees 5. When the price per unit is rupees 5, the quantity demanded per week, say it is a packet of biscuit, was how much? 100 unit. As the price falls from rupees 5 to rupees 4, the demand has rised up. See, demand has rised up from 100 unit to 150 unit. Again, when the price falls further from rupees 4 to rupees 3, what happened? The demand, that means the quantity demanded has further rised up from 150 units to 200 units. Okay, so this is called as individual demand schedule. Now if for this product there are 1000 number of customer in market, then we can easily find out the market demand by multiplying the number of customer in the market with the quantity demanded. Understood? So if individual demand schedule is known to us, we can easily find out the market demand. Okay, so this is the same thing I have written here only. As see, when the price of a thing, say a packet of biscuit is rupees 5, a buyer wants to buy 100 unit per week. Okay, if the price is rupees 4, he demands 150 unit, and if it is rupees 3, he demands 200 unit. Okay, so the schedule shows that demand for a commodity, that is a packet of biscuit, is high at the low price and vice versa. Okay, so this is called as individual demand schedule. Now this is called as the diagrammatic representation of demand schedule in the form of a demand curve. Okay, this figure shows, see, this is your y-axis. Okay, in y-axis we are measuring what? The price of a commodity, and this is your x-axis, and in x-axis we are measuring the quantity demanded for a commodity. Now I will make you learn how that means we are drawing this demand curve, okay, with the help of the demand schedule. See, here you can see this is the origin O. Okay, and say we are considering, let me go back once. Okay, say the middle one, I am considering when it is rupees 4, the demand is 150 unit. Okay, the middle portion. Okay, so let me see here. Say when it is rupees, that means 4, here say I am representing it with the help of OP. When it is OP, when the price is rupees 4, means OP, our demand is how much? OQ. Our demand is OQ, means 150 unit. Okay, as the price say rise down from rupees 4 to rupees 5, this is OP1. See, here it is written OP1, means the higher price, rupees 5. When it is rupees 5, see, the demand has fallen down. Demand has fallen down to 100 unit. 100 unit, which has been reflected here through OQ1. Now, if the price has fallen down from rupees 4 to rupees 3, and here we are reflecting it with OP2. Say OP2 is rupees 3. Okay, so when the price is rupees 3, see demand has rised up. Demand has rised up to OQ2. Okay, OQ2. So OQ2 is what? This OQ2 is your higher demand, higher quantity demanded, that is 200 unit as per this table of mine. Okay, so when the price is rupees 4 means OP, the demand is OQ means 150 unit. When the price has rised up to rupees 5 means OP1, the demand has fallen down to 100 unit means OQ1. When again the price has fallen down further to OP2 means rupees 3, the demand has rised up to 200 unit, that is OQ3. So now we are getting 3 points here, 1, 2 and 3 points. Okay, we can give you the name also, A, B and C. So if you add this 3 points together with the help of a curve, this DD curve is the individual demand curve. This is the individual demand curve of a customer. So what is the feature of individual demand curve? See, it is a downward sloping demand curve. Always downward sloping demand curve. Not always, there are some exception as well, but generally you will find a downward sloping demand curve. Why? Because of this negative relationship or opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, see, when the price falls down, demand will rise up, and when price rises up, demand will fall down. See, it is a downward sloping demand curve and is negatively sloped because of the opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded of the product. Okay, so this is how we are drawing individual demand curve, means demand curve of an individual customer. Now come to the next question, very important question. Now just whatever we have done up to this, I have shown you the relationship with price and quantity demanded only. Now the question here comes whether price and quantity demanded always move in opposite direction for all the commodities. Okay, so just now I have shown you that it is moving in opposite direction, but whether it is always the case, the same case for all the commodity? No. Now I will make you learn few exception. Okay, exception to law of demand. Okay, so these exceptions are where the law of demand is not working, means this opposite direction movement of price and quantity demanded is not happening for all these exceptions. Okay, now sometimes the law of demand may not work. Okay, that means price and demand may not move in opposite direction. First one is conspicuous consumption. What is conspicuous consumption? Conspicuous consumption is people who belongs to top level of society, in order to segregate themselves from other members of the society, they generally do some show off. Okay, they use expensive furniture, okay, expensive decorative items in their home. Okay, they use expensive jewelries. Okay, so this is one kind of show off they are doing to show that they belongs to top class of society. So for this category of people, law of demand is not working, because price of those expensive furniture, jewelries are rising up, but demand for them is not falling down. So here the law of demand, that means movement of price and quantity demanded in opposite direction, is not true. Understood? Now come to the next. Next one is bandwagon effect. This bandwagon effect is what? Sometimes customers are affected with the taste and preference of a particular social class. For example, say for successful businessman group, successful businessman class, playing golf is a passion for them. Instead of rise in price of golf balls, they will still purchase those balls in order to show off that they belongs to the class of successful businessman group. Okay, so this is called bandwagon effect. Next comes to snob effect. Snob effect is true for poor class people. Say they are using a particular quality of rice. If the price of that particular quality of rice reduce further, they may reduce the consumption of the same. Okay, in order to show that they no longer belongs to the class of poor. Say the price of that particular quality of rice is say 25 rupees per kg. It fallen down further to 20 rupees per kg. What they will do, they will switch to next better quality of rice in order to show that they no longer belongs to the class of poor. Okay, that's why they will switch to next better quality of rice, and they will curtail the intake of this quality of rice. Okay, so this is called as, here also the law of demand is not working, because the price has fallen down for that quality of rice, but demand has not rised up. Demand has shifted to another quality of rice. Understood? So here law of demand is not working. Now come to the next one. Occupying insignificant portion of the consumer's budget. See, you can see our our parents, they are preparing monthly budgets. Okay, and if you see that budget, in that particular budget, salt and sugar occupies very insignificant portion, but these two are mandatory item. Okay, can you have your food without salt? No, this is affecting your taste and preference. You cannot take your food without salt. Okay, you cannot take your milk or tea etc. without sugar, without adding proper sugar. So these two are occupying very small portion in our budget, but very indispensable goods, very important goods. Okay, if the price of this product like salt and sugar rised up, we will still purchase those products. Okay, so here also law of demand is not working. Next comes to speculation. What is speculation? Speculation is true for shares. Now what is speculation? Speculation means when the price of a particular share is rising on the market, what will happen to its demand? Yes, the demand will also rise up for the same. Okay, so if the price of a particular share is increasing in the share market, suppose we have gone for purchasing share from the share market, definitely we will prefer to purchase that company share whose share price is rising in the market, because we have an expectation, we have a speculation that the price of that share, those shares will rise further, and we can sell our total holding in the market and earn profit after some time as the share price is rising. Okay, so we will not purchase that company share whose share price is falling gradually. We will always prefer to purchase that company share whose share price is rising in the market. Now come to the next, that is given goods. Say there are some goods called as given goods, like potato. This particular item potato is having a unique feature. Say the price of all the vegetables are rising in the market, people will prefer to buy potato. See, the price of potato is also rising up, but people will prefer to buy potato rather than purchasing any other vegetable. Okay, so they have a tendency that they can have their all meal, they can have their breakfast with potato, they can have their lunch with potato, they can have their dinner also with potato. So this particular potato is acting as a given goods. Here the law of demand is not working. As the price of all the vegetables are rising, people will curtail purchasing other vegetable and purchase potato more. Okay, so here the price of potato is rising up, but demand is not falling down, it is rising up more. Next is called as Veblen effect. Veblen effect is what? There are few commodity for which we are judging the quality of those commodity with its price. Okay, Say you have gone for purchasing mobile phone. You have gone for purchasing, say, some SLR camera. Say one mobile phone is, say, 10,000 rupees, another is 12,000 rupees. So you always think, okay, they are charging 12,000, that means there should be some additional feature. There may be good quality of photo, okay, so there may be some additional feature, that's why they are charging a little bit more. So we will always measure the quality of this kind of product with its price. Okay, so say we have gone for purchasing a SLR camera. Okay, while Canon is charging, say, 45,000 rupees and Nikon is charging 50,000 rupees. So we always think, okay, they are charging, that means zooming must be good, pixel must be good. Okay, so we, for all this kind of products, we are judging the quality with its price. Okay, so here also law of demand is not working. Now next, the product used for addiction. You know, people who are addicted with some product, with some habits, okay, like smoking habits, drinking habits, okay, in spite of rise in price of those things, cigarette, wine, or hard drinks, okay, they will still consume those products. Okay, so here also law of demand is not working. So price is rising up, demand is not falling down. So these are the exception to law of demand where law of demand is not working. Next, in all such cases, demand curve will be upward sloping, okay, showing a positive relationship between price and quantity demanded. Just now I have shown you a demand curve which is downward sloping or negatively sloped, because there lies a negative relationship or opposite relationship between price and demand. But in case of all these exceptional cases, you will find there is a upward sloping demand curve. Upward sloping demand curve, because here price and quantity demanded are not moving in opposite direction, they are moving in the same direction. Okay, that's why the slope of this demand curve will be upward sloping. Now next question, very important question, whether price is the only factor which can affect the demand of a commodity. Just whatever we did up to this, we have concerned with the price and the demand. So now the question is whether price is the only factor which can affect the demand of a commodity. Now your answer will be no. There are a number of factors which can influence household demand for a commodity. Important among these are, first one is what? Price of the commodity, price of the same commodity. Next one, price of other related commodities, other related goods. Okay, other related commodities are, that means the substitutes and complements. I will make you learn afterward. Next, level of income of the household, that means customers' level of income. Taste and preference of the customer, definitely. Size and composition of population of a particular country. Distribution of national income, that means distribution of income means national income and other factors. Okay, so the above listed factors we are now depicting it with the help of a demand function. This is called a function. Here I have written what? QDC. QDC. QDC, what is the meaning of QDC? Quantity demanded. QD means quantity demanded for a commodity C. Say we are considering this commodity C, say T, as T. Okay, T, you know, all of you have T. Okay, so this is, say we are considering T. So QDC is a function of PC. PC means price of the product, C means price of T. See, PC means price of the commodity, that is T. This relationship just now we have done. If the price of T rise up, the quantity demanded will fall down. If the price falls down, the demand will rise up. Okay. Next one is PR. PR means the price of other related commodities like substitute and complements. Substitute of tea is what? Coffee. And complements of tea means what are the ingredients we use with tea? We are using sugar and milk for preparation of tea. Those are called as the complements. Okay. So PR is the price of other related commodities. Done. Y. Y means money income of the household, means of the customers. Okay. T. T means taste and preference of the household or customers. And D means other demographic factor like size of the population, distribution of income, etc. Okay, so now I will explain how it is affecting. See, the relationship between quantity demanded, means this one, and the price, we know, just now we did, that means if the price of tea, the example I have given, price of tea, just now I said, if price of tea falls down, the quantity demanded for tea will rise up. If the price of tea falls down, then quantity demanded will rise up, and if the price of tea rises up, the quantity demanded will fall down. Now come to the relationship with PR. PR means price of other related goods. Means, say, if the price of coffee rises up in the market, what will happen to the demand of tea? Tell me, what will happen to the demand of tea? If the price of coffee rises up, here the price of tea is not changing. Mind it, price of tea is not changing. Price of coffee is changing, means price of related product is changing. Price of substitute is changing. If the price of coffee increases in the market, then the person who used to intake coffee, they will switch to tea. So what will happen? The demand for tea will automatically rise up. Similarly, if the price of coffee falls down in the market, people who are taking tea, they will switch to coffee. That means the demand for tea will fall down. So this is called as the effect of price change of other related products on the demand of the same product. Say, now come to the complement part. If the price of sugar and milk rise up, the demand for tea and coffee both will fall down, because these two are the common ingredient for tea and coffee both. Okay, so demand for tea and coffee will fall down. If the price of sugar and milk falls down, the demand for tea and coffee both will rise up. This is here, the price of the same product is not changing, but price of related products are changing, and it is affecting the demand of that product. Now come to income of the consumer. If the income of the consumer who are taking tea rise up, what they will do? They will try to take better quality of tea. That means demand for tea will rise up. If the income of the consumer falls down, then the demand for tea will also falls down. Now come to the next T. T means taste and preference of the consumer. Taste and preference of the consumer, if it is towards tea, then demand will rise up. If you think of winter season, in winter season we would like to have more hot drinks, means tea, coffee, etc. So then that means the demand for tea, coffee will rise up, because the customer preference is towards tea and coffee, okay, in winter season. But if you think of summer season, in summer season we are we really want to have more cold drinks, okay. That means demand for tea and coffee, means taste and preference of the consumer is not towards tea and coffee, so naturally the demand for tea and coffee will fall down, as the preference of taste and preference of consumers are changing. So this is T. Now come to D. D means demographic factors. So if you think of the country like India, China, population is more, okay, demand will be more. If you think of countries like Canada, like Vatican City, okay, very small country, very that means number of population is also very small, so demand will be naturally less, okay. So that means the population also plays a very important role on the demand of a particular product, and other demographic factor like distribution of income, etc. Okay, so we can say that price of the same product is not only the factor which is affecting the demand. There are some other factors also which I have written here, other factors also which can also affect the demand of the same product, okay. Now I will show you a difference between change in demand and change in quantity demanded, which is also called as movement along the demand curve and shifting of demand curve. Okay, now here, in order to start with this, we have few conditions we have to keep in mind. First condition is here, this particular function we did just now. Okay, and I explained you what is the meaning of all this notations. Okay, now here, in case of movement along the demand curve, we have a condition here. PC means price of the commodity. Here our example is with tea. Price of the commodity, that is tea, is only changing factor. Okay, and rest other factors means all this rest 4 factors are unchanged, means are constant. Okay, these other factors are constant. Now what happened if the price only changing factor, other factors are constant? We know this is the case, means here as the price is moving upward, the demand is falling down. Means when the price is OP1, the demand is the highest, OQ1. Okay, this is the price axis, this y-axis is the price axis, and x-axis is the quantity demanded axis. So when the price is the minimum, that is OP1, demand for the commodity means quantity demanded is OQ1, the highest. As the price rises up from OP1 to OP2, the demand has fallen down from OQ1 to OQ2. Again price increases further from OP2 to OP3, and demand has fallen down further to OQ3. So again we are getting 3 points here, K, L and M. So if we join this K, L and M with the help of a curve or straight line, for our convenience I have done a straight line here. Okay, so if we are adding it with the help of a curve, this DD curve is the demand curve, individual demand curve. So this individual demand curve we are getting like this when only price of the same product is changing and all other factors are constant. Mind it. Then we are moving from one point to another point, from K point to L point, from L point to M point in the same demand curve. In the same demand curve, we are moving from one point to another point, as the price is the only changing factor and it is affecting the quantity demanded of the product. So this is called as what? Movement along the demand curve. Okay, so this movement along the demand curve is possible when the price is of the same product. Price of the same product is only the changing factor and rest all other factors are constant. Now come to this shifting of demand curve. What is shifting of demand curve? See here, the condition is PC means price of the commodity is constant, and that constant price we have shown it with the help of OP. OP is the constant price out here. Okay, so here the price of T as per our example is constant and we have written it as a horizontal straight line, and this is OP. Now but the other factors are changing here. Okay, other factors, what are the other factors? Price of related product, income of the consumer, test and preference of the consumer, and other demographic factor. So if the price is constant, say our original demand curve is, say this one, the middle one, D0, D0. Original demand curve is D0, D0, and at this OP price of T, and the demand is how much? PB, because this D0, D0 is the original demand curve. So our original demand for T is PB. This is B point, so PB. Now, first I am considering PR. PR means the price of related goods. As I said, it is say coffee. So if the price of coffee increases, what will happen? The coffee taker will switch to tea. That means the demand for tea will rise up. If the price of coffee rise up, demand for tea will also rise up. that means the whole demand curve, as the price of tea is not changing, what will happen? The whole demand curve will switch to its left. Sorry, switch to its right. Okay, switch to its right. That means your new demand curve will be D2, D2. So D2, D2 will be your new demand curve, and your new demand will be, the new demand for tea will be PC, PC, this one. Similar effect will happen when the price of complements fall down, like sugar and milk. If the price of complement fall down, then the demand for tea will rise up. So it will, again there is a shifting of demand curve towards right. That means D2, D2 will be the new demand curve. Now if the price of coffee falls down, then the tea taker will switch to coffee. That means demand for tea in the market will fall down. That means the whole demand curve will now shift to its left. Okay, the whole demand curve will shift to its left, and new demand curve will be this one, D1, D1, and new demand for tea will be PA, PA, this much only, PA. Okay, similar effect will happen when the price of complements rise up, means sugar and milk rise up. Then what will happen? The demand for tea will fall down. So it will be again shifting towards left, means it will be the demand, new demand will be PA. Now come to the next one, Y, means income of the consumer. If income of the consumer rised up, the demand curve will shift towards right. Okay, because new demand will be PC40. Okay. Now if the income of the consumer falls down, the whole demand curve will shift to its left, and new demand will be PA40. Next comes to taste and preference. As I said, in summer season, taste and preference is not towards tea and coffee. That means there is fall in demand. That means the whole demand curve will shift to its left, and your demand will be PA. And if it is winter season, we are more towards tea and coffee, means demand for tea and coffee is more, means there is a shifting towards right, and your new demand curve will be D2, D2, and your new demand will be, demand for tea will be PC. Okay, and the last one, demographic factor. As I said, if the population is more, demand is more, means shifting towards right, and new demand will be PC. If population is less, demand is less, shifting towards left, that means the demand will be PA. So here we can see when the price of the same product is constant and other factors are changing, other factors means all these four factors are changing, we can see there is a shifting of demand curve to the right side and to the left side. So this is called as shifting of demand curve, and when and how it is happening, I have explained everything. Okay, so up to this.